Hi all my class 10 ICSE students. Here I am, your English facilitator Himangi, back with you again to continue with Julius Caesar Act IV. So let's plunge straight into the text. Please open your textbooks to Act IV and we'll start by reading the synopsis given at the beginning of the Act. Act IV, Scene 1. After the flight of Brutus and Cassius, the triumvirate, that is the joint rule of Antony, Octavius and Lepidus, is gaining political power in Rome. They are purging Rome of those who led the coup which toppled Caesar. They are even tossing away the lives of their own relations and friends. Antony is shown as ruthless playing with the lives of friends and relations. He makes use of Lepidus as an asset, intends to usurp his power and finally turn him out. He has no regard for friendship or principles. So we begin with scene 1. Where does this scene take place? This scene takes place in Rome, a room in Antony's house. Okay. Now politically actually Shakespeare has done this for dramatic enhancement and to maintain. See, when we are talking about something in literature, when we talk about the plot, there has to be a unity in time. So Shakespeare has deviated from history over here and he has maintained the unity of time over here, so when you are asked a question, where does this scene take place, all that you've got to write is a room in Antony's house in Rome. Actually it takes place after a very long period of time, okay, and at a different place. But as far as ICSE students are concerned, we are supposed to write a room in Antony's house in Rome. Enter Antony, Octavius and Lepidus. Antony. These many then shall die. Their names are pricked. Pricked means marked, ticked off. Octavius. Your brother too must die. Consent you, Lepidus? Lepidus. I do consent. You will remember, children, I have told you this, that Antony, Octavius and Lepidus, they are the people who have formed the second triumvirate. Okay, and they are known as the triumvirs. Okay, so these three, now they are deciding who are the people that they are supposed to kill. See, these are basically the Caesarians. They are the people who love Caesar and they have become absolutely ruthless in killing of the people who had a plan in Caesar's assassination. They don't want to spare anybody and they are going to become the rulers. So actually what Brutus was trying for, to save Rome from dictatorship, now what has happened is it's going to become a dictatorship of the triumvirate. Okay. So I do consent. Octavius. Prick him down. Antony means mark him. Lepidus. Upon condition that Publius shall not live, who is your sister's son, Mark Antony. So Lepidus is saying that okay, I consent that my brother must die, but on that particular condition that your sister's son, Mark Antony, whose name is Publius, he also will not live. He shall not live. Look, with a spot I damn him. Means I mark him with a spot that he will be killed. So they are absolutely ruthless. They don't care about relations or anybody. They are just out to kill all the people who had taken part in Caesar's assassination. But Lepidus, go you to Caesar's house, fetch the will hither, and we shall determine how to cut off some charge in the legacies. Means how to reduce some of the expenditure that Caesar has written in his will. Now, why do they want to reduce the expenditure? Because they want that amount to raise an army for themselves so that they can fight with the conspirators. What? Shall I find you here? Means when I come back, will I find you over here? Octavius. Or here or at the Capitol. Exit Lepidus. So now Lepidus goes away to get Caesar's will. Antony. This is a slight unmeritable man. Unmeritable means undeserving. Whom is he talking about? He is talking about Lepidus, because Lepidus has just left the scene and Antony is saying the place. And Antony is saying this is a slight unmeritable man, means he's an undeserving man. Meet to be sent on errors means he's only the only purpose that he can do is to that he can just do some small work and errands. Is it fit, the threefold world divided, he should stand one of the three to share it? So Antony is now wondering, he is making a comment that he is a man who is not very deserving. Who? Lepidus. Lepidus is not a very deserving person. And is it appropriate? Is it fit means is it appropriate that when we divide the world, means when we divide the kingdom, he should be one of the partakers of the kingdom. We are going to be three: Octavius, Lepidus and Mark Antony. He's saying, do you think we should give him a part of the kingdom? Octavius: so you thought him. Actually, they had already decided that Mark Antony was to take Gaul, Octavius was to take Africa, Sardinia and Sicily, and Lepidus was to be given Spain. Okay, so this is how they had decided to divide. So Octavius is saying, so you thought him, and you took his voice on who should be pricked to die. Means you are the person who decided that Lepidus should be a part of us, and when we divide the world in three parts, he should be one of the person to be one of the rulers. And you took his opinion about the people whom we are going to kill, whom we are going to ensure that they all die. In our black sentence and proscription. Proscription here means a list. Okay, so what is the list that they are talking about? They have made a list about the people whom they are going to kill to take a revenge for Caesar's death. So they are saying that so Octavius is telling Mark Antony that you are the person who took his voice, who took his opinion while we made this proscription. And what is a proscription? Like I told you, proscription is a list. And it is also, you can take this note down, it is a recognized method of taking revenge. The proscription at that time was supposed to be a recognized method of taking revenge on one's political enemies. So it was a recognized method in Rome at that time of taking revenge on one's political enemies. And the proscribed man means a person who was ticked off, or the person who was written as a person who was to be killed in that proscription. That proscribed man became an outlaw immediately, and his property was forfeited to the state without any legal proceeding. So immediately his property became the property of the state. So that is a proscription in our black sentence and prescription. Antony: Octavius, I have seen more days than you. You know, at this time, approximately Mark Antony was around 40 years old, and Octavius was 20 years old. Okay. So Octavius, I have seen more days than you, and though we lay these honors on this man to ease ourselves of the divers slanderous loads, means the blame that we are going to get. So we have just taken this person so that this blame is sort of divided. Okay. He shall but bear them as the ass bears a gold. So he is nothing more than a donkey who bears gold. Like donkeys always bear the load on their backs and everything. So he's saying this person is nothing more than a donkey who will bear all the load. But what is the load? The load is of gold. Okay. To groan and sweat under the business, either led or driven as we point the way. So he is saying that Lepidus is nothing more than a donkey who will groan and sweat under our business, but he will do according to our wishes, and he will not act according to his own wishes. And having brought our treasure where we will, so when we decide that we want our treasure to be brought at this particular point, he will bring our treasure over there, and then take we down his load and turn him off. So he's saying once he reaches with the load to the particular designated place, after that we remove all the load from him and we leave him, we let him go away, like an empty ass to shake his ears and graze in the commons, to graze in the common pastures. Octavius, you may do your will, but he is a tried and valiant soldier. Tried means he is an experienced and valiant soldier. So Octavius is not very convinced that Lepidus is going to be, it's going to be so easy to get rid of Lepidus. So he's saying he's a tried and valiant soldier. Antony, so is my horse, Octavius, Means even my horse has a very good military record. If if Lepidus has a very good military record, even my horse has a very good military record. And for that reason, because he has a good military record, I do appoint him store of provender. Means I do supply food to him. I give him food free of cost because he has a good military record. So we are giving him free food. I do appoint him store of provender. It is a creature that I teach to fight. Means the horse is a creature whom I have taught to fight. To wind means to turn. So I have taught him to fight. I have taught him to turn. I have taught him to stop, to run directly on. His corporal motion governed by my spirit. His corporal motion here means his physical movements. So his physical movements are governed by my spirit. Who's the horses? Similar, he is using a metaphor for Lepidus. And in some taste is Lepidus but so. He must be taught, trained, and bid go forth. He is a barren-spirited fellow. Barren-spirited fellow means a person who is devoid of true spirit. So he has to be goaded all the time to do something. One that feeds on abject oaths. What is the meaning of abject oaths? It's given over there to you. See in your books. Rejected scraps. Scraps which are rejected by other people. And staled by other men. Staled by other men means worn out by other men. So he feeds on rejected scraps which are staled by other men. Begin his fashion. So that which is thrown away or which is rejected by other men, those are the scraps from where his fashion starts. Do not talk of him but as a property. So do not talk about Lepidus more than just a simple tool. He is a tool for us. And now Octavius, listen, great things. So he's saying now come to the important things. So as if this entire conversation about Lepidus was very, very unimportant. And he's saying now we come to important things. And what are these important things? Brutus and Cassius are levying powers. Levying powers means they are raising their armies. And we must straight make head. Therefore, let our alliance be combined. Our best friends made, our means stretched, and let us presently go, sit in council, how covert matters may best be disclosed, and open perils surest answered. So he's saying now listen to great things, listen to very important things, because these important things are, the first thing is that Cassius and Brutus, they are raising armies against us. So we will have to decide how to deal with these armies. Okay, so let our alliance be combined. So let us join our forces and let us make new friends who will be friendly to us. Our means should be stretched and let us presently go and sit in council. So let us sit and discuss. What do you want to discuss? How covert matters may best be disclosed. So covert matters means unknown things should be told to the public. So those things which till now we have not told the public, let us decide, let us sit together and let us plan how we should decide, how we should disclose these matters to the public. And open perils surest answered. Open perils means obvious dangers. Dangers which are very obvious. How are we going to answer them? Means how are we going to deal with those dangers? Octavius. Let us do so, for we are at stake. Now here Octavius is saying we are at stake means the meaning of a stake is basically a post, okay, a pole like thing. So we are at stake means Octavius is saying we are tied to a post, as if this is the post and they are tied over here. Now here Octavius has made a metaphorical comparison to a bear which is tied to a post. Okay, so there was this thing in the Elizabethan England which they called as bear baiting, and they would tie to the post, they would tie a bear, And then what would happen is there would be a lot of dogs, wild dogs all around, and these dogs would keep barking at the bear because they did not have the courage to go and snap at the bear, but they would keep barking at the bear. Now the bear, because it was tied, all he could do was to fight from that particular place. He could not fight from anywhere, but it was compulsory for him to fight over there because he was tied to the post. And this bear baiting was a sort of an amusement for the Elizabethan England, like we have seen in one of your poems. Which poem is that? About the glove and the lions. We just saw that they used to make the lions fight for their amusement. No, King Francis Court, they used to make lions fight for their amusement. So similarly over here, Shakespeare is talking about bear baiting, which was an amusement. Okay, so you can take that down. I'll dictate it to you. Octavius, so when we write over here, let us do so, for we are at the stake and bayed about with our enemies, with many enemies. So please take that down. Octavius uses the metaphor from bear baiting, where a bear is tied to a stake and is worried by dogs on all sides. They are facing imminent dangers. They are facing imminent dangers just like a bear is facing. Okay. And this was a popular bear baiting was a popular amusement. Bear baiting was a popular amusement in the Elizabethan England. So that is what he is talking about. So let's come back to Octavius. Let us do so, for we are at stake and bayed about with many enemies. And some that smile have in their hearts, I fear, millions of mischiefs. Mischief over here means dangerous plans. So he's saying, I know, Octavius is saying that I'm very sure that we are surrounded by a lot of enemies, and just like we are like a bear who is tied to a stake, we are surrounded by enemies, and not only enemies whom we know, but there are many people around us who are actually our enemies, but they smile and they talk very affably to us as if they are our friends and all, but actually they are our enemies because they have lots of dangerous plans in their heart as far as we are concerned. Okay, so this is what Octavius has said, and Octavius and Antony have now decided that we will go and we will sit and we will sort out all these problems exeunt, and they all leave the scene. Okay, so with that we come to the end of this scene. So Act 4 Scene 2 has been completed over here. But before I sign off for the day, I want you all to come to Antony's speech where he says what is his opinion about Octavius, about Lepidus. Okay, the first thing he says is that he is a very unmeritable man. That means he's very undeserving. Second thing he says is that though we lay honors on this man, means though we show a lot of respect to him and we have taken him in our group, why have we taken him in our group? To ease ourselves of the slanderous load, so that we don't have to carry all the burden on our backs all the time. So we have taken him. Then the third thing he talks about is, come down to the next point, where he says, so is my horse. So Lepidus compares, that is the third thing, he has compared Lepidus to a horse. I hope you have got all the 3 points, otherwise you can rewind and see it. Check again. Then the last point that he gives about Octavius is, one more point he gives about Octavius, the fourth point he gives is that he is a barren spirited fellow, a fellow with no spirit, who has less amount of spirit. Okay, and the last point he says is, do not talk of him but as a property. As a property means as a tool. So he has given us 5 points about what he thinks about Lepidus. Now this is a typical Shakespearean style. When you're learning Shakespeare, this is a typical style of Shakespeare where he gives the character of the personality traits of another actor or character by the speech of somebody else. Like if you remember in Act 1, when we were talking about Cassius, and Caesar was talking and he said, yon Cassius has a lean and thin look. Let me have men around me that are fat. He thinks a lot and he doesn't speak. He seldom laughs. You can revert to my earlier module. I have given you all those all the marks over there. So there Caesar himself, Shakespeare has made Caesar give us the qualities or the personality traits of Cassius. Now here Antony, we find Mark Antony giving us the personality traits of Lepidus. Okay, so children, with that we come to an end of this small little module. So we have short modules now, and Act 4 Scene 1 is what we have completed today. Please do keep learning. Like I always tell you before I end my lectures, that keep learning and keep writing, and the more you write the better it is for you, and learn small things, short things. It's easier to remember them. And next time we'll continue with Act 4 Scene 2, which also I think yes, we can finish that also in one lecture. So I'll be seeing you all again at the next module. So till then, do keep studying and work hard, and all the best to all of you all. Bye everyone. Work hard.